It has been a while since I've done one of these, which is a long form podcast recording where I am the only person on here. And I'm going to provide a general update on how things are going from a Catalyst perspective, what we're working on, what's worked in the first 6 months of the year, what we plan for the next 6 months of the year, and where we're focusing attention. We'll also get into a little bit about what's next with the podcast and the format that we're going to use over the course of the next couple of months as a test. And based on feedback that we get, we'll iterate and adjust that test. So for those of you who've not been listening for a while, I'm Mike Simmons. I am the founder of Catalyst Acts. Started the Catalyst Sale podcast back in October of 2016. That was the first year that we ran the podcast. And we are getting very close to episode 400. This is episode 390. If you are interested in leadership, culture, revenue, or execution, you can find content that will help you think differently and do differently in the work that you do. If you have a question around leadership, culture, revenue, or execution, just send it to me. And you can send that to podcast@findmycatalyst.com. Again, podcast@findmycatalyst.com. And we will either point you to the specific episodes or episode that we discussed it, or record one if we need to. If we need to bring on a guest, we're happy to bring guests on to go deep into specific topics. So you'll see a couple of different formats. Sometimes I'm on the podcast alone. Sometimes we share recordings of videos that I share. And other times I'll interview people that either I know or just meeting for the first time who are experts in their field. Again, leadership, culture, revenue, execution. And our objective is to help you find your catalyst so that you can start thinking differently and doing differently in the work that you do, whether that's inside a company, whether that's in your own company, or maybe you're operating as a solopreneur. It's just in the individual work that you do. So there's a little bit of background. A recap for the first half of the year. We've accomplished some pretty interesting things. Number one, we are dangerously close to empty nesting. Our youngest graduated high school, and he will be going and swimming Division I, which was one of his goals. We head out and move him in here in just a couple of weeks. We're moving him into school in August. The Phoenix Club is one of those things that we've put a lot of time, energy, and attention in over the course of the last about 8 months. Yeah, it's about 8 months now, 7 to 8 months. It is a labor of love. One of the things that I share in a number of different areas is that I'm driven to help people accomplish the things they want to accomplish better and faster. Do the things you want to do better and faster. And I do this through the combination of community, so connecting, networking, connecting others. I do this through tools and processes that I've created in building revenue teams, building go-to-market teams, leading these teams. And I do this in the context of coaching. So there's a couple of different ways that I like to help people in this area. Corey Kosick was on the podcast a number of months back, actually last year, and he highlighted an additional piece, who want to help themselves. And one of the things that I tend to go into each relationship with is a strong bias toward the idea that people want to help themselves. I'm beginning to question that. I think there are a lot of people who like to talk, and I think there are a lot of people out there who are lying to themselves when it comes to this. They say that they want to think differently and do differently, but then they continue to go back into the old habits, or they continue to fall back into traps, these preconceived notions, these expectations that they have for themselves. And the theme this month in the Phoenix Club is independence. And our first episode, our first discussion, we meet every Tuesday. Our first discussion was around freedom from, or independence from, preconceived notions and self-limiting beliefs. And we all have them. I have them at different points in time where I'll either question whether or not I'm worthy, or I deserve to be in a specific room. There's a little bit of an imposter syndrome that comes in there. And it's hard to overcome those other than through or the way that I overcome those, is through the combination of people, coaches, leaders who I surround myself with, process my own processes that I work through, working through those processes, iterative processes, even with processes like the OODA loop as an example: observe, orient, decide, act. Systems, the combination of multiple processes together, and tools. So there are a couple of ways to overcome it, and we'll still continue to fall into these traps. So if you're one of those people who falls into that trap, let me know, and I'm happy to help you, either pointing to stuff that I've recorded or things that we've shared with others around how to help overcome these challenges of preconceived notions or self-limiting beliefs. Let's talk about some of the wins for the first half of 2024 and kind of what we've done. Number one, we've got the Phoenix Club up to 40 people, which is really exciting. We've increased the price per month for any new members to $90 per month. It is a paid for community. My expectation is that you will see a return on that investment within the first 90 days of being a part of the community. And how will we do that? By understanding what you want to accomplish in the short term, helping you build a plan to go out there and get that done, and having a team of people, other members of the community, who are there to support you as you work toward making progress. That is my commitment to you. You will see a return on that investment within the first 90 days. And my expectation is that you'll continue to participate in the community because of the opportunity that there is to give back to others. As we give back to others, as we help others grow, we grow ourselves. So really excited about what we're doing with the Phoenix Club. We've seen some churn. Some of the churn has been related to the timing of calls that we have on a weekly basis and some people not being able to participate in those calls. So we're trying to figure out a way to decouple the value from the call and everything else that happens as a result of being a part of the community. And we're going to work really hard on making sure that that happens. So if you are a preneur, someone who wants to think different so that you can do different, or someone who thinks different so that they can do different, whether you want to or you do it today, this might be the place for you. Preneur, from my perspective, it can happen both inside an organization, an intrapreneur. They can be people who are starting a business where they might turn around and sell that business at some point in time. So they're going to add people to it. They're going to create so much value that someone would be willing to pay them to take that business off their hands. That would be an entrepreneur. And there are others who are going to do it and never want to hire people ever again. Those would be your solopreneurs. And then there are the people who were like me at different points in my career who wanted to do it but didn't have the guts to do it, didn't know where to start. And I've been fortunate enough to be all of the different preneurs that are in that list. I've been a wantrepreneur, an intrapreneur, an entrepreneur, and a solopreneur. And they all have their benefits. They all have their risks. They all have pros and cons, and there are reasons to do either of those things. So if that sounds like you, if you think different so that you can do different, you want to help others, you want to make change happen out there, whether inside an organization that you're running or inside an organization that you're a part of, or you just don't know exactly where to start, this club might be for you. And to some extent, we're an island of misfit toys. There are revenue leaders in this club. There are travel agents in this club. There are speakers in this club. There are people who've created courses that are in this club. There are leaders inside operations roles inside organizations. We have a diverse set of people inside this group who know that they will make an impact by helping others make an impact. So if the Phoenix Club sounds interesting to you, go to findmycatalyst.com/the Phoenix Club. We'll include links and ask Jen or I any questions if you have them. We're just getting started. And one of the cool things that we did earlier this year is we had our first in-person Phoenix Club event. That event happened in Orlando. We exceeded our targets relative to number of people that were in the room, and feedback was both good and bad relative to it. We had a number of opportunities to learn and grow and figure things out as we figure out what's next, which is what a preneur does. A preneur focuses on what's next. It's not about staying in this current state. It's what's next. There's this constant interest and drive toward building. The biggest amount of confusion that happens with the Phoenix Club is, do you have to live in Phoenix? And no, you do not. In fact, there are three of us who do live in Phoenix. Jen and I live just outside of Phoenix and Gilbert. Brent, who's a member of the club, lives just outside of Phoenix as well. This is about the mythical bird that rises from the ashes. Why? Because we rise together. So really excited about what we've got going on with the Phoenix Club. We're just getting started. The theme the first month for calls were all around getting your business fundamentals in place. So taxes, accounting, structure, then business operations, guiding principles, core values, the mindset of a leader. February was around love your customers, designing for customer experience, the different types of marketing that are out there, own versus earn versus paid. How do we get the message out and bring others along with us? So that was love your customers. March was about spring cleaning. Sometimes you start with these great ideas and then 60 days into the year, you've got to eliminate some things. So how do you do that? How do you clean out your closet or clean out your junk drawer, as Ellie shared with us in one of the calls? In April, we focused on sales. What seeds do we plant this in April that we'll be able to harvest toward the end of the year and the beginning of next year? So how do we design for helping customers achieve goals? How do we design sales funnels? Jody led us a call on that. What is sales? If you've paid attention to me for a while now, you know that sales is about connecting the dots between problems that are known or unknown and solutions that are known or unknown. If the problem is unknown and the solution is unknown, you have a lot of work to do. You have to create an experience for people to become problem aware, and then you have to position things properly for people to become solution aware. In May, we got into some of the mental health and stuff, including some coaching, training, and mentoring. And it was May Day, I Need Help. June was about June Gloom. It was about envisioning a future, overcoming June Gloom. So you want to be a speaker. Larry Long Jr. was on. So you want to build resilience. Amy Looper joined us. In July, the focus has been on independence, and we will continue to have themes as we move through this. Again, my commitment to you is that that investment will pay for itself within the first 90 days that you're a part of the community. And it will be able to do so because you will see and feel progress made in the work that you're doing, both in how you make money, the community that you've built around you, the family, the people that are important to you, or in self. And that you have my commitment on that. The second thing that I'm excited about in the first half of the year is we started to shift with one of my clients. We are starting to hire and we're building the team. We're building specific capabilities across different segments of their organization. We're building in the right way. We've established process. We've established some places to gather data, and we are expanding the team in different ways across the 4 different businesses that are part of this organization. If you are in the interested in the automotive space, specifically in construction and service, send me a note. Especially if you're on the East Coast, there might be some opportunities to join an organization that helps dealership groups and helps large municipalities do the things they want to do better and faster in a safe environment where design is a critical component of what we deliver. So we design solutions to help service centers in that space, whether in the light duty space or the commercial space, heavy duty, service their customers both internally and externally. And if you have questions around that, you know how to get a hold of me. And doing some really interesting things. It's really taking the stuff that I've learned over the number of years that I've had an opportunity to operate as an operator and lead inside organizations and build from 0 to 1 and apply it inside an existing business that is not bits and bytes, more focused on bricks and mortar. It's cool to see the things that we're able to lift up as we go through this. And we also focus not only on the dealership space, the automotive space, but also on the collision and overhead door space. So some interesting things that are happening there. And again, if you're on the East Coast, you're looking to join an organization where you can get your hands dirty, you can start doing meaningful work, there might be some opportunities as we continue to grow on the East Coast. If you are a company that is working through some leadership challenges, some culture challenges, some revenue challenges, execution challenges in the brick and mortar space, the distribution space, give me a call. I'd be interested in seeing if I might be the right fit to help you build out systems and processes and make some of the changes that are necessary inside the organization from a people perspective so that you can continue to move forward. Really excited about what's happening in that space, and excited to see that it reinforces a belief of mine, which is a huge bias. So you got to be really careful about these blind spots, but it reinforces to me that the reason why this stuff works, the fundamentals work, whether you're in technology or you're in construction or you're in automotive or you're in manufacturing or you're in oil and gas, the reason the fundamentals work is because the common denominator in each of these areas, at least for right now, is the human element. Humans want to make an impact. They want to feel valued. They want to not waste their time. They want to do meaningful work. And if you use an evaluation process effectively, you can hire the right people inside your organization, put the right people in the right place at the right time to do amazing work and grow in a way that makes sense, grow with a level of predictability. And that's the thing that excites me about this shift from SaaS or bits and bytes into more brick and mortar type stuff. Now I'll still do some of the SaaS stuff, the technology stuff, because emerging technology that enables humans is really important to me. Using some of the AI tools, including ChatGPT and DALL-E, and testing in some other areas to help enable members of my team, which include my family, to be more empowered in the work that they do inside the business. Sean has come on as a marketing intern, and one of the first things he did is help me revamp my LinkedIn profile. So if you'd like to see the updated LinkedIn profile, which hopefully feels a little bit more human, check it out on LinkedIn. And if you just search for Mike Simmons Catalyst, and we'll include a link, you can find it there. On the Catalyst side of things, in addition to Sean joining the team and doing some of the work that he does with Fairways Hit, doing some of the work that he does with Catalyst Acts, and doing some of the work that he'll do with the Phoenix Club, we've launched a productized service called Whiteboard as a Service. And this is a guided conversation. The whiteboard is part of the brand. You see me on the YouTube videos, and we'll continue to create some more video there. It is a tool that I use to help bring people together in communication. One of the other tools that I use, and you've seen these before, things like the problem-solving tools, so the hexagon, decision-making tools, 2x2s in that square. These are tools that can help break through some communication challenges that exist inside organizations. When multiple people get to come together, teams of up to 10 can come together and we can do a live whiteboard session. They can start to see their words up on the whiteboard. You feel this connection that happens where we've built this thing together. We've built from 0 to 1 together. And then we can build a plan that people can then go out and execute. And the key piece there is making sure that it's very clear who is going to do what by when, not how they're going to do it. Who is going to do what by when? How isn't as important. You're going to make mistakes when it comes to your strategy. You're going to make mistakes when it comes to your tactics. It is more important to get out there and start doing work, reflecting on that work, and then iterating on the work based on what you've learned in that reflection process. So this Whiteboard as a Service, which is how we're presenting it, will help teams of up to 10 people come together, collaborate in a guided conversation where information will be shared, summarized, and organized and delivered back to the organization so that you can gain clarity inside your organization, create a level of focus, get aligned relative to that clarity and focus, and build a plan to start moving toward achieving results. And all falls into that category of both simplifying execution, simplifying problem solving, and simplifying decision making. So different things that we're doing on the speaking side, which I'm excited about, and the speaking side of the business continues to progress. The feedback has been amazing. You can see the feedback on my speaking page, which is findmycatalyst.com/speaking. All of that feedback is captured by Talkadot, which is an amazing resource to help gather feedback around what's working, what's not working, what needs to change. Catalyst Acts, advising, coaching, training, speaking. At an individual level, it's the Phoenix Club. It is the courses that we have in our products and services side of things. At a team level, it's things like the whiteboard as a service. At an organization level, it could be the whiteboard as a service cross-functional team, but that's really more some of the fractional leadership type work. And I'm excited about continuing the fractional leadership side of things. I have capacity to bring on another client right now, and I'd like to bring on another client, whether that's in the emerging technology space or in this construction, manufacturing space. Either one of those are where I would be excited to bring on another client. And if you're struggling with growing your business, you're struggling with creating the infrastructure to support that growth inside your business, you've lacked leadership inside your organization, I think there's more that you can accomplish, but you're not sure why you're not getting there, let's have a conversation. I will not manufacture fit. We might find that there's some things I might be able to help you out with. And that's where the fractional leadership side of things comes into play. The last thing to share with everybody is we relaunched the podcast, and you saw this really start to gain momentum toward the end of May, throughout June, and into July. Multiple episodes of the podcast going out there. We caught up on a number of recordings that were done toward the end of last year and beginning of this year. I still have 5 more of those to go out over the course of the next couple of weeks. My commitment with the podcast as we go forward is there will be 2 episodes per week. One will be me solo, and the other one will be with a guest. My expectation, based on some of the structure that we've put in place, is that we're going to be able to release those guest episodes within 48 hours of them being recorded. And the way that we're going to do that is through tools like Camtasia and Audiate, which is what we use to edit the podcast, as well as a couple of GPTs that we've created to help with podcast show notes, and another thing that we're really excited about, which is the newsletter. The podcast is back. The way that you could help me, let me know who you'd like to hear as a guest and why you'd like to hear them as a guest. Let me know what you'd like me to focus on and why you'd like me to focus on it. And let me know how we can improve to help you think different so that you can do different and do the things you want to do better and faster. That's where this all comes together under the brand of helping you find your catalyst to do the things you were meant to do, to think different so that you can do different, to do the things you want to do better and faster, to help you find your catalyst. If you have questions, please let me know. I'd like to do a Q&A version of the podcast, but in order to do it, I have to get questions from folks. So you can send questions via direct message in LinkedIn. You can send questions via direct message in Twitter, or you can send questions directly at podcast@findmycatalyst.com. That brings us to the last thing, the Learn, Think, Act. Learn, Think, Act is the updated version of the newsletter. It used to be the Catalyst Spark. Learn, Think, Act is the new version. The opt-in page is available on findmycatalyst.com. Our goal with Learn, Think, Act is to really accelerate speed to impact, accelerate speed to action. So you take a piece of information in, we learn, we ask a couple of questions to create an opportunity to think or reflect, and then we identify a place where we can take action. And if we can accelerate addressing the gap or bridging the gap between learning, thinking, and doing, so learn, think, act, we will make an impact much faster, and we will retain the information that we've learned. The cool thing about taking action is when you take action, you can then reflect on that action to determine, did that work for you? And if it didn't work for you, you've got to ask yourself, did it not work because I didn't do the work really well? Or is it because that work is not meant for me? If it was because you didn't do it well, redo it, test again. If it's because that work just isn't for you, fire it. It's okay. You can let it go. Channel your inner Elsa and let it go. If you're interested in Learn, Think, Act, please check it out on findmycatalyst.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. That newsletter goes out every Sunday. We will focus on topics that you've heard us talk about before. The one this weekend was around go-to-market. We've done ones on problem solving. We've done ones on achieving results. And again, we want this to be super simple, like a very, very quick read where you can learn something quickly, take in some new information, think about it, some questions for reflection, then identify an action to take and take that action so that you can then reflect on the work that you did and either do more or stop doing it. You can't reflect on things that you're going to do. You have to do the work and then you can reflect. Thanks for going through this podcast. I hope you listened to it on like 2x speed. I felt like I was talking a little bit slow. I'm excited about the second half of 2024. We will be empty nesting. We're going to be moving our youngest into college, like I talked about earlier. Sean's going to be more active inside the business. We are going to build out a demand gen capability inside our organization like we've never had in the past. And we're going to learn, we're going to think, and we're going to take action. And we'll share that process as we go through. If you'd like to hear somebody else on the podcast, please let me know. If you'd like me to answer specific questions on the podcast, please let me know. If you'd like to see me whiteboard some information up on the whiteboard, please let me know that as well. If you know somebody who would enjoy this episode and find value out of it, please share it with them. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about yours? Go sign up for that Learn, Think, Act newsletter.